South Africa, welcome to Afternoon Express. My name is Palisa Dembe, and I just want to thank you for spending your afternoon with us here on the show. Now, finding something that you're passionate about and being able to live out your wildest dreams has to be one of life's greatest fulfillments. So today on the show, we meet Refilwe Ledwaba, the first black female helicopter pilot for the SAPS. We also meet Owen Riley, who has made a career for himself as South Africa's best bartender and will be competing in Glasgow to represent our country in a global bartending competition. And in light of Mental Health Awareness Month, we chat to Dr. Lebogang about the causes and treatments for schizophrenia on Mommy Monday. So we want you to join us in the conversation online and let us know, what have you always wanted to find out about schizophrenia? You can simply tweet us at Afternoon Chat or use the hashtag Afternoon Express in all of your comments. Head over to our Facebook page and we got you there too. Now, Masake Maleka is a passionate 20-year-old philanthropist who won the 2019 award for educational innovation at the Global Youth Awards. Now, she has been elected to represent South Africa and the World Health Organization as a delegate in the Asia World Model United Nations Conference for her outstanding community innovations. Now, if you have any questions for Masake, head over to our social media platforms and tell us what you would love to know. What community initiatives are you working on? Remember to use the hashtag Afternoon Express in all of your comments so that we can find you. Girl,
hello.
Welcome to Afternoon Express. First of all, you're looking absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
But you're so much more than just a pretty face. I mean, you have decided to go into communities and be the change that you would love to see.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I have always been interested to find out what inspires those that inspire us, right?
Yes.
So what inspired you to be a philanthropist?
Practically what inspired me was where I come from. I come from a very small town called Harrismith in the Free State. So
yeah, I've driven past Harrismith a couple of times, girl.
But you don't know what it has. It's a very small town that has great dynamites that come in small packages. So what happened there, while attending extra classes and everything, we spoke about a few things as girls. And when you see the current situation that's happening, then you find out and you ask yourself, who are you waiting for to make the change if it's not yourself? So yeah.
That was, well, I'm very thankful that you're having these conversations and you're inspiring those around you, because I purely think that there's not enough people channeling all the good and positivity in different avenues and different areas in life.
Yeah.
I have to start by saying congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I mean, you won the Educational Innovation Awards at the Global Youth Awards. So what does that mean and what does winning that award entail?
So with the Global Youth Award for Educational Innovation is that they check around what you do as a person and everything, and then you are nominated by the communities. So the communities see what you are doing with their kids, with the schools, because I work a lot with schools, going to do self-esteem talks with the girls and the boys as well, because without confidence, what are you?
Absolutely.
And then I'd go there, talk to the children and whatever, and then the community of Cape Town, surprisingly, then selected me to be a part of the panel. The panel then were like, okay, cool. We'll then take you and see what is it that you have in store for us. Going there, well, they check. They're like, okay, what is it that you do during the weekend? And I'm also a student at the same time. So like, but then you're keeping the balance so well. And then after a while, then after I was nominated by the community, then it goes through the panel. So the award takes place in Dubai and in South Africa as well, the award ceremony. And then after a while, what happens is that they were like, okay, this is the change that you're doing. You're bringing yourself down to the people. So with that, we say thank you, and we're putting you a step ahead to where you are destined to actually be.
Absolutely. That's beautiful to me. And you've named a lot of different criteria that they look for. So first of all, the community have to nominate you.
Yes.
And first of all, to be celebrated and uplifted by people and saying that we see you, we see the contribution you're making. It's so positive that we want to celebrate you. What other criteria do people look for?
Well, with the educational innovation segment is that they look if, are you working with schools? Where are you working? Because there are different ones. There are leadership ones as well. But they're looking at what is it exactly that you are doing with schools. And especially for a young person to go there and say, you know what, it is fine. And the other thing that I was also putting emphasis on was that we shouldn't ignore the people that are doing languages and only focus on science and maths. Without that, we know as black people that the passion mostly stated that you should do science in order to be safe.
Yes.
But I said, you know what, listen, it's okay okay, you could still do this. Because when I was in grade 11, I had to leave pure maths and go to mathematical literacy. So for a student, it's actually quite embarrassing, and also you're running for head girl and people are telling you that, but you can't.
You're doing maths lit.
Exactly, you're doing maths lit, and what are you actually going to be with math lit? But I went to the community and said, you know what, with math lit, you can be anything you want to be. With any other subject, not to degrade any other modules or whatever, but with whatever that you have, you can actually be what you want to be.
So I find it so interesting, just leading on to that point, you've decided to take science, you've decided to, as much as that is important, you focused more on the languages. I was actually listening to the radio on the way to work today, and they were speaking about Afrikaans, that a lot of people are running away from Afrikaans because of maybe understanding and the growth of the subject and the language in South Africa. But the fact of the matter is we need translators to translate not only in English, but to translate into the different African languages from the medium Afrikaans. And you've completely taken it on within yourself, someone who speaks Afrikaans and all the other languages, and you've made a foundation. What is that foundation about? I've been getting you to help me in my Afrikaans mode to pronounce Macy. Motivate. Talk to me about your foundation.
So MMM, that's my life, that is my everything. So I started in grade 9, collecting sanitary towels, talking to the people at Hope House and all of that. And then as time went, and I noticed that, you know what, there is actually a need of sustainability when it comes to sanitary towels. I only collected those sanitary towels on the week of my birthday. Well, I collected throughout the year and delivered the week of my birthday. And I would give out to the communities close to us, Iram and all of the village schools around us. And with that, I was like, you know what, we need consistency, and we need to constantly keep on doing what? Keep on growing and collecting more sanitary towels. Everyone is doing it, but how you're doing it is what matters the most. So I went there, and with Macy Mace Motivate is that we have talks with girls and boys, self-esteem, confidence, and all of that. And when we do the menstrual part of things, then we also include boys in order for them to also understand what is it that's happening, so they don't laugh at the girls when something is happening or they notice something. The main part of MMM is also collaborating. I was currently collaborating with Help a Girl campaign with Abongile, incredible person, and going there was like, you know what, as women also we need our own sense of motivating each other as women and not bringing each other down. Seeing that collaboration with stands and was practically much greater than competition.
Absolutely. Let's not compete, let's collaborate. And instead of having two incredible things, let's collaborate together and make one extraordinary, monumental thing. I absolutely love that about you, and our social media is loving you too. So we've asked you on social media if you have any questions for uMasake and to tell us what community initiatives you're working on. So we've got our very first comment here from Utiti Nkabinde, who says, at this rate, girl, you're going far, and I have to agree with you, Titi. But she continues to say some of the things that they're doing in their home is babysitting for family. And they're like, I think that that's a community within itself. And babysitting, look, whatever small thing that you do, we celebrate you as long as you're helping each other, lean on each other. We've got another comment here from Tana Deeds, who says, well done, Masake, keep shining. But her question is, how does it feel to represent our country on an international stage?
That's one incredible thing, and I take it as that being a person of the community, I feel like representing each and every person in South Africa. It's super great because going there, I'm practically the mouthpiece of South Africa to say, you know what, this is what we are facing and this is how we'd like to overcome it. The main thing that I loved as well was that when they asked that, what motion are you passing? I said, I'm not passing a motion, I'm saying, come back to the communities. Give the communities a chance to be a part of the strategies that you give to them. So,
Masake, we've got a very broad audience, and I think a lot of viewers at home want that inspiration, want to feel motivated, but just don't know how to start. So I can only imagine the amount of pressure you feel on an international stage, but you're killing it. So in order for our viewers at home to be killing it the way you are, what words of advice do you have for them?
I'm actually going to be very practical about it. Ask. Just ask people, how is it that you're doing it? Help me do it. If the person decides not to tell you, then it's definitely for them. So what you definitely, without a doubt, would then be doing for the people is that you need to ask the people, how is it that you're doing? And usually most people think that with passion is that, no, if I do this, then I'm copying the other person. But you're not. If you are passionate about something that someone else is already doing, be innovative about how you do it. Ask the person and be like, how is it that you're doing? Then make it your own. So the main thing that I'm very much focused on is ask the person, how is it that you're doing this? Let's work together, help me, mentor me, and don't let your pride get in the way.
It's basically, Masake, I am so inspired by you. She is saying there's no such thing as a stupid question, so ask, ask, ask. Education is power. Thank you so much, Masake. Love your work. So after the break, we meet SA's best mixologist, Owen Riley. Plus, we chat to SA's first black female helicopter pilot for the SAPS, Urifilo Litwaba. See you after the break.
Express yourself.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express on this Monday afternoon. Now, after competing in 5 grueling competitions, Owen O'Reilly has come out on top as the best bartender and mixologist in South Africa. So he is off to Glasgow to represent our country in an effort to be named the best bartender globally. Connect with us online and tell us what questions you have for Owen, and tell us which drink you would love him to make for you. Don't forget to use the hashtag Afternoon Express in all of your comments so that we can find you. Owen, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I can only imagine what huge task it is to take on being South Africa's #1 bartender.
Yeah, it was quite crazy actually. I think there was a couple of tears involved.
From you and not even from
No, from my side, yeah, definitely a few sleepless nights and a lot of hard work, but you know, and it pays off. So
it does pay off, and we are going to be putting your mixology skills to the test here on Afternoon Express. And I believe that you've got a little recipe lined up for us.
yeah, I've actually got 2 drinks for you.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
2 mocktails, as we call them.
So what's the first one we should start off with?
So I don't know. I actually have names for these. I kind of just made them up for today.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe the viewers can give us some names. But yeah, so the one we'll do a bit of a sorbet vibe, some green tea, so nice and alfy. And then the other one we'll do something with a little bit of, again, rooibos tea,
Rooibos
some
tea.
vinegar.
I
yeah.
would love to find out from you at home, what should we be naming our Afternoon Express mocktails on this Monday? We want to shake off those Monday blues, so definitely tweet us. We're focusing on teas, whether it's green tea or rooibos. Head over to our social media platforms. Don't forget to use Afternoon Express in your hashtags so that we can find you. So, Owen, as we're getting started here, I mean, a lot of people have misconceptions on bartending. A lot of people think that, you know, it's just a pastime as a student, something to get extra money. How have you made this a career for yourself?
Wow, so yeah.
We can get started, I suppose.
This is actually something, you know, I kind of went to high school, you know, I mean, I can't even remember when it was. I'm 35 now, so a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And, you know, back then, I think high school wasn't that that amazing. I mean, what you learned there, to be honest, you know, what I learned there, I'm not really applying today in everyday life. So I kind of left school, let's call it maybe a year early, and I decided to go on my own and work, you know, for my own money, and basically started off working in Spur, believe it or not, as a clown, a chico, which is what they call it, and then from there I sort of just started working a little shit in the bar here and there, and basically, you know, started doing that, and I think, you know, I think my mom probably didn't know what I was doing until about 5 years ago, you know, and I sort of just started working in the bar, and I even tried working in a gym at one stage, which was obviously a horrible idea, and then went back to the
fact that you've found your passion in bartending, and you've kind of shunned all the myths and misconceptions that people have on the career, and saying that you can do this and you can make a name for yourself within this field. So what are some of the misconceptions, and how do you, I don't want to say win people over, but how are you able to convince people that, you know what, I'm here and I'm here to stay and I can be very, very good at it?
So yeah, so I think, I mean, some of the misconceptions is that what people say is anyone can do it. I should maybe tell people what I'm doing over here, right?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay,
Should
well,
I
you can put some hot water for me there.
Love that.
But anyways, I'll get to that now. So, you know, I think people often think that the service industry in South Africa is sort of anyone can do a job, or it's an in-between job, you know, when you go for sort of a bit of a, let's put it a little bit
more,
okay. Yes, you know, don't give the people tea.
Give the people tea, give
and
the people what they want.
you can just let that sit there for a little bit and let that sit. Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest ones because, you know, in actual fact, this is a lot of hard work to get somewhere. And I think a lot of bartenders, we're inspiring to
I'm just going to start throwing things together.
It's fine. I see you keen to make some cocktails.
I am keen. I want to show the people what you're known for here. Okay, so we've added the hot water in the green tea, and we've added some ginger.
Some ginger, yes. Yeah. Okay, and then what we got here is a little sorbet that I cooked up earlier this morning. So that's fresh strawberries made into a syrup with a little bit of fresh thyme.
Love that.
Like the herbs, and then some lime juice and a little bit of citric acid, which is quite a big thing in the bar scene these days. And that made into a sorbet, and in this we've got a little mint green tea with some fresh ginger.
Stunning. Okay, and now how do we put it all together?
So basically, yeah, so that's the sorbet over there. And then you just put a little, well, we'll do the mint later. And then for a bit of show, I mean, dry ice, what a great toy to play with.
Absolutely.
Don't do this at home, though.
I was going to tell you, is the number one rule not to touch dry ice.
I'm kind of used to it by now. And then this gives you just a little bit of theatre, and that's basically the serve, something like that.
A little bit of hot, a little bit of cold for this Monday.
A little bit of mint.
This is gorgeous.
Give it a bit of a slap, you can...
Absolutely.
Give it a nose, you get a nice sort of minty.
Smells so good. Well, Owen, we've got a question for you on social media, and we've asked you to connect with us online and ask us, do you have any questions for Owen? And tell us which drink you would love him to make. We've got Tana Deeds coming back. Tana Deeds, being a top fan, you're always coming through with the questions. First of all, wishing you a happy Monday, and then saying, I want something to make the Monday blues go away. That's my question. Which drink would you recommend for me?
Bourbon, straight up. Definitely.
But if we're focusing on something a little bit more mocktaily, I think this will brighten up anyone's day.
Yeah, so mocktaily, you know, something like this is a little bit more complicated for at home, but I mean, if you want to try, I mean, everyone knows a mojito. A mocktail mojito, just some lime, fresh mint, a little bit of sugar, and you can obviously flavor your sugar with whatever you want. So you can use tea to make a sugar syrup with. And just lime, mint, sugar, and you top that up off with a bit of soda, give it a stir, some ice, and you've got a lovely,
Perfect, Hannah
refreshing
Deeds. I
drink.
hope that you've got your refreshing drink. All the best for you going over to Glasgow to represent us. I know that you'll
Thank
come
you.
back with the big win.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah.
The wonder of LG OLED TV with new intelligence. LG OLED TV.
Now imagine a world where you can have a conversation with your home appliances and they actually respond to you. Well, LG's latest range of OLED TVs this is a reality. The new C9 range features advanced AI that allows you to talk to your TV as if you were talking to another person. Mind-blowing. So for example, if you're watching a food show, for example, and you find some inspiration, you can simply ask your OLED TV to search for the recipe videos online that relates to what you're watching. It will also Google search, and give you a list of the results. Now the AI also starts to learn your viewing habits over time and will suggest content that fits your interest. Plus, the C9 comes in 3 sizes, the 55-inch, the 65-inch, or the 77-inch, depending on your requirements.
The wonder of LG OLED TV with new intelligence. LG OLED TV.
Narifilwe Lidwaba is a phenomenal woman who defies all odds and followed her dream to become a pilot. Her passion has propelled her after what she took a first flight with a female pilot for the first time. Now, in that moment, she knew that she wanted a career in aviation. Rifilwe, congratulations. I mean, I think it says so much about a person. Forget every and anything and focus their entire being and their heart into what they're passionate about. And you've done exactly that. I believe that you were first a medical doctor or studying to be going to the profession of medicine, and now you're in aviation.
Yes, hi. Yeah, it's such an interesting story. So I studied a Bachelor of Science, Biochemistry and Microbiology, with the intention of going to medical school. And just somewhere in the middle, everything just changed. When I did take my first flight, I think I was 17 years old, and I was traveling to Cape Town. And there was a female pilot, because I never knew that females could fly, let alone black people flying.
Yeah.
Where I grew up, I came from Limpopo. I've never seen a black pilot or a female pilot. So it sort of sparked that first interest that perhaps it's something that I could do. But it was only 2 years later, after university, that I actually went into the aviation sector.
Was there any fear attached to following this dream? I mean, these are 2 different professions, and you kind of fearlessly threw everything in the air and still went for it.
Obviously, there was fear of the unknown. I mean, obviously, and as well, my family didn't know what was happening. Becoming a pilot, they were okay with the fact that I was going to become a doctor, but didn't quite know the aviation industry. And obviously flying as well, it's quite scary. Yeah. It's something else when you fly as a passenger, but when you actually take that first flight as somebody that has been, you've been taught how to fly, it's a different story. Because I remember one of my first flights, I was actually literally holding my instructor, because now you're up there and you're looking down, and it's actually quite a way down.
I can imagine.
So, and it's not something that I have done or something that I was sort of used to. So it was a little bit daunting. But just like a car, I remember as well, the first time that I drove a car, I was sitting like this on a steering wheel. But after a few years, you're like
So what
sitting
goes
like
through
this.
your mind when you're sitting there and you're taking on this incredible cockpit and you have such a huge machine behind you that you need to drive? What are those feelings and emotions that are going through you?
Do you know, funny enough, when you fly and you're literally carrying the passengers, sometimes you're isolated. So it's like only that small space where you're probably flying with a captain or you're flying alone. And at some point, you're carrying passengers, but at some point you're so focused on the job at hand that you land and you realize, oh, I just carried, sort of this many people. So there's just a whole lot of, a lot of things to do. And obviously the takeoffs and the landings are still, thrilling. They're quite exciting.
Absolutely.
And it's different. Every takeoff and every landing is amazing. You never get over it. Yeah.
And the different stages, I suppose, that you take throughout the journey kick in a different level of adrenaline within you.
Yes. Yes.
I can only imagine that you've gone through a lot, having to prove yourself in a male-dominated space, and especially as a black female. So what were some of the challenges that you had to overcome?
So I think the initial challenge, obviously being one of the first in the SAPS, you have to sort of chart the way. You've got small little things like uniform. They didn't make uniform at that point for female pilots, so you have to wear like sort of baggy, baggy uniform. Factors such as weight. When I flew helicopters, they had a weight restriction. You had to weigh sort of a minimum of 60 kg to fly solo.
Wow.
And I used to weigh like 40-something kg, so I used to walk around with a big bag, sort of to balance, my center of gravity. So those are the things that, but obviously as being one of the females, there were probably one or two guys that obviously had to get used to the fact that, you're there culturally. So there were a lot of funny stuff. I remember, as ladies, we like to sit like this.
Yes.
And when you fly helicopters, you literally have to sort of open your legs and have your side leg in between. And your instructor will tell you if you open your legs. And you're sitting there and you're thinking.
And especially culturally,
yes.
it's looked down upon as a woman to sit with your legs open. So that shift in your mentality.
It is a shift, because now you have to literally sit like this to be able to fly. Otherwise, you put that side leg and you just move it like this and you don't fly properly. So those are some of the, some of the shift and some of the things that you really had to sort of think about. Now it's not a big deal. You get in, you just sit.
Absolutely.
And
trust in Bowoto to make a way regardless.
Oh, no,
You've created such an amazing platform and foundation through the GFPA. Talk to me about it.
So GFPA Foundation, it stands for Girls Fly Program in Africa, and the foundation was created based on some of the challenges. For example, I didn't know that I could become a female pilot. So obviously we needed to, sort of create a platform where we can start raising that awareness about becoming a pilot. Number two, it's very expensive. You can't, to get your commercial pilot license, it's almost like paying up a bond. So what are the avenues that are available? So again, the foundation gives that platform and that information. And I think what is most important, especially with girls, they become what they see.
Yes.
So when I was growing up, I only used to see Tom Cruise and Top Gun on TV. So I knew, no, there's no way I could become a pilot.
There's no space for me.
There's no space for me. But the moment I saw female pilots, I was like, perhaps there is space for me.
Yeah.
So we want to be there, available, accessible through the foundation, so they can see people that look like them, that are doing all this awesome stuff, and they can think, I can do that.
I can do that too.
I come from that area and she's doing this, I can do that. So we've got various programs within the foundation to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, not only for making way, but actually ushering everyone on along with you on the journey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So now we've been asking you, have you taken any international flights? Or let's say, what's your #1 international destination?
So I have a few #1 international destination, but the destination that I would like to go to, that I haven't been to, it has to be Spain. I haven't been to Spain. I haven't been to Barcelona.
Absolutely.
So that is my next on the line. The culture, the food, I've read about it, so I'm there.
I have to agree with you, Refilwe. In Europe, for me, Barcelona is right up there and on my wish list. It's the perfect mix between the old and the new, whether it's the architecture, the food, the culture.
Yeah.
And you can also enjoy beach life, if you want to take it easy and not, be caught up in the city life. You can also take it easy on the shores of Barcelona.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, girl. Now, look, there are a few cities in Europe where you can enjoy the culture and the vibrancy of a city break and the fun and relaxation that a beach holiday can provide. So Barcelona, however, is a city that has all of the above. Great weather, beautiful beaches, nightlife, food, shopping, and of course, the rich history and the culture that we can expect from an old European city. Now, the beauty can be discovered around the city and is completely endless, with one of the most iconic sites being the La Sagrada Familia and the beautiful Gaudi architecture around a bustling city. So allow yourself to escape the cold winter and explore this gorgeous city with amazing offers from Turkish Airlines between the 1st of of September and the 13th of November, you can reduce your travel costs with tickets starting from 7,400 Rand. If this wasn't incredible enough, then you can also be giving you a chance of a free stopover in Istanbul, allowing you to experience 2 incredible destinations in one. To find out more about this incredible offer, simply contact either your preferred travel agent or go directly to Turkish Airlines before the 31st of July. If that wasn't incredible enough, you also can ask about the free stopover in Istanbul that can allow you to experience 2 destinations, as I said, for the price of one. So widen your world with Turkish Airlines, and remember, T's and C's do apply.
Shake off the winter blues by planning your next trip with Turkish Airlines now. Book for travel between the 1st of September and the 30th of November and enjoy our special fares from 7,400 Rand to destinations like Barcelona, Rome, Athens, Zagreb, and even Istanbul. Speak to your travel agent or Turkish Airlines before the 31st of July about these incredible specials. And remember to ask about the free Istanbul stopover that allows you to experience 2 destinations for the price of one. Turkish Airlines, widen your world. T's and C's apply.
The new reality show, The Next Brand Ambassador, starts broadcasting from the 15th of August right here on SABC3. And the call to entry closes tonight. The series will follow the search for 3 industry-leading marketing talents to represent the work with South Africa's #1 retail bank, Capitec. So if you think you are smart and sussed enough to take on some of South Africa's best marketers and influencers, enter to be considered as a contestant on the show. Entries for Johannesburg have already closed, and the deadline for Durban and Cape Town candidates is tonight at midnight. So don't let this career opportunity pass you by. Visit thenextbrandambassador.com for full details on how to enter and all those important T's and C's. Tonight is the last chance, so enter now as to be a contestant and live better with Capitec and The Next Brand Ambassador, coming soon to SABC3. Now we prepare a hearty samp and bean bowl with Chef Pumla after the break. Sounds absolutely delicious. Stay right there.
Express yourself.
Clover Fresh Milk is the #1 milk brand in SA. Made with love by Clover.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express, where we're warming up your Monday afternoon with something beautiful and hearty in the kitchen. Now, in 15 minutes is all you have to cook a hearty meal. Our creamy samp and bean bowl made with Clover Fresh Milk is all you need. SMS the keyword Clover to 33650 to get the recipe sent to your device. SMSs cost R1.50 and free SMSs do not apply. Chef Pumla.
Yes, Pali.
Again, umngusho. Onembotyi.
With a difference.
Oh, I love that.
We are making it creamy today.
I love that. Let's go through this recipe because we're taking something that is so popular in every South African household and we're adding a twist to it.
Oh, yes, especially in my culture, in the Xhosa culture, this is a staple.
Absolutely.
So what we have here is butter, melted butter. So into that, you can hoist some peppers.
Okay.
We already have our onions in there.
Yeah, our onions and with that incredible
got celery there. More peppers.
More peppers. And basically at home, you can add whichever vegetables you have in your fridge. Of course, we want you to use what you have. So whatever you prefer, whatever shopping you've done, use those in this recipe and I'm sure it'll come together as
carrots. Then we have some carrots. So what you want to do, you want to mix everything together, just the flavors to get to know each other. Then you sprinkle your flour over. So this is what is going to create the sauce later on.
Okay.
Because we want the same to be creamy. So with that, while you are stirring without stopping, we're going to add the Clover Fresh Milk.
Stunning.
So this, what the Clover Fresh Milk does, it gives it a nice creaminess, you know, and a richness. And of course, it's loaded with nutrients. I mean, 9 essential nutrients and vitamins.
Ooh, stunning, absolutely stunning. If you would love to try this at home, SMS the keyword Clover to 33650.
Can I help? Just
yes,
a little?
Of course you can. Definitely help. So we want all the ingredients to come together, thicken up to make the delicious sauce that's going to go with our samp.
Yes. So now that one is done, so you will add now your samp. This is Woolies ready to eat, actually.
Because my next question is 15 minutes. I grew up knowing that samp, not only do you have to wash it first, but then you have to let it sit in amanzi, in
yes,
your water.
to soak, and that will soften it up. So if you want, since it's Monday, I thought maybe we can go meatless. Yes. So what we have here, we're making our samp a bit bougie. So we're putting some pulled jackfruit.
Okay, let me help
It's a barbecue flavor. It's by Woolies.
Barbecue flavor, but it is still meat-free.
Now we can just add our seasoning and a bit of herbs. We will keep a little bit just to garnish later on. Okay. So we move to the end product.
Okay, so whilst that has all come together,
so
this
come together, you leave it to cook, and tell me if you don't think that's creamy.
Creaminess has been taken to the very next level here.
Maybe we can use a smaller one.
No, we can. I think the more the better, girl.
You are bold. Look at that.
I'm very bold. I get to. You don't want me to enjoy my samp.
I've got more goodies for you.
Absolutely.
To pretty this baby up, some fresh chopped parsley. So obviously you can also use water if you want, but you won't get the nutrients that you get from the Clover Fresh Milk.
Yes, okay. So basically at home, whether you're using whatever vegetables you're using, whether you're going meat-free or adding some chicken and some hearty meat into this is definitely something to try to keep you warm those cold winter nights. So remember to SMS the keyword Clover to 33650 to get this recipe sent to your device. But if you need to see how this is made one more time, here is a quick recap.
I've got a small one.
Made with love by Clover. Clover Fresh Milk is the #1 milk brand in SA. Made with love by Clover.
Chef Pumla better save me some samp for a little later. Now for Mommy Mondays, we discuss diagnosing and treating schizophrenia with Dr. Lebogang after the break. Head over to our social media platforms and send in all of your questions, and hopefully we'll be addressing them live on air. See you after the break.
Hi, I'm Brendan Paper. I was on Tropical Island of Treasure Season 8 with Lizanne Lazarus. We were Team Red and we won.
I brought the brains and Brendan definitely brought the brawn. And together, we made a smooth team. Auditions for Season 9 launch in August. So here's your chance to win Femme and Fortune, just like I did.
If you're talking about a smooth experience, this would be it.
Tropical Island of Treasure Season 9 on the beautiful Caribbean island of Curacao.
Tropical Island of Treasure, Curacao.
Hi, can I please have a chili cheese chesa?
Chili what?
A chili cheese double for a cheese boy.
Wow, what did they call your car?
We call it Double B. Beautiful, please.
I mean the model.
Oh, the model. She's South Africa's next top model. I didn't want to be cheesy, but finding it extra. I'm just preparing for the National Drive-Through Day.
I'm loving it. Express yourself.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, approximately 1.5 million people are diagnosed with schizophrenia every year. With this in mind, it has become imperative that we raise more awareness to the fact that it is a treatable condition and that there is hope for those that have been diagnosed with the condition. Now we have Dr. Lebogang in studio to shed some light on the diagnosis, causes and treatment of schizophrenia. And if you've got any questions for Dr. Lebogang, just hop onto our social media platforms and don't forget to use the hashtag Afternoon Express in all of your comments. Welcome to The Loft, Doctor.
Thank you for having me.
So Doctor, there's so many myths and misconceptions when it comes to schizophrenia. So please just break it down from the beginning. What is schizophrenia and what are some of these myths that challenge us daily?
So schizophrenia, falls under the group of, psychiatric or mental health disorders called psychotic disorders. And you're right that, there's been lots of misconceptions or, misinformation about the illness. There are many, but commonly, for example, people would say, many patients who are diagnosed or many people who are diagnosed with schizophrenia are violent. Actually, very few of them, would, embark on, violent activities. When they do, it's often when they're ill. Many of these patients, I believe that, we must lock them up in psychiatric hospital. They should not be integrated in society. When they are on treatment and in a supportive environment, many of them are able to fulfill many of their obligations, either academically, socially. Also, many of them are able to hold jobs. Some of the misconceptions is that, are related to the causes, that, the mother caused it, or that, it was because of poor parenting.
Wow.
And as far as we know, there is no one single cause of the illness schizophrenia. It's a multiple of factors, possibly starting, during pregnancy, life events, and when the disease would express itself, late in adolescence or beginning of adult stage. So, and, some of those misconceptions, again, would, include the fact that, people with schizophrenia cannot hold jobs. In fact, when you're diagnosed with schizophrenia, many of these patients are victimized.
Yeah.
They're asked to leave their jobs. People with schizophrenia said that they cannot have, bear children. You're going to pass it to your children. So those are some of the things that we hear, and many of them are not true, because we do know that there's a considerable amount of people who are living with schizophrenia who have given birth to people who are normal and have no sign of illness whatsoever.
Absolutely. So for our viewers at home who are not well educated on schizophrenia, how does it manifest itself? What are some of the first early traits that you can see in a loved one to be able to diagnose it? Is it more of a clinical diagnosis?
Definitely, it's I think it's important that people understand that it's a clinical diagnosis. So by that we mean that there's no blood test or X-ray or some investigation of some kind that you can say, like we do with certain forms of medical illness. So it takes diagnosis of through interviewing many people, the family, the patients. In some instances you may need to go into the work environment, the school, if it occurs early, to find out what the symptoms are. So biologically we know that the changes in the brain occur from when the person is growing.
Yes.
But the disease would express itself in late adolescence, so in the 17, 18 years old, up between the age of 25. So often it would be loss of interest in, activities, so there'll be deterioration in functioning. People may begin to experience, what we'd call hallucinations. So you'd hear voices of people talking and are not there. And to these people, these voices are real. So if, you get a command hallucinations or, some instruction to your mind telling you, go do this and this, for those people, it's real. They would have odd beliefs. So they would, they can believe that, become suspicious of people. Sometimes they could paranoia, persecutory, or believe that other people would want to harm them in any way. And sometimes they believe good things, which often may even get them into trouble, that, I'm related to Barack Obama,
Yes.
I have hearing voices that, I need to board this plane to get to America, and I'm going to address this big gathering. So that's, some of those illnesses that would be there. So those would be some what we'd call positive symptoms. So negative symptoms would be, that what often people would see, what we'd call psychiatrists and clinicians would call affective blunting. So lack of expression, there'll be difficulty with how they label certain things or express their language, and so on, yes.
It seems like a lot of people seem to call it split personalities, but that is far from the truth. I mean, this is more of a separation from reality.
The core feature of schizophrenia is impaired reality testing, which is different from a group of disorders such as personality disorders. Yes. So in schizophrenia, it's impaired reality testing. So what we're saying is that when somebody tells you something which may not be true or real, to them it appears that it's real. And that is, one of the main features of schizophrenia. And when I speak to people is that, schizophrenia, it's a disease of good people. So it's not, bad people who just choose to get these symptoms in that way.
Doctor, whilst we have you here, we've been asking on social media if you've got any questions for Dr. Lebogang, and we've got Bafana Dlamini here with a question for you. It says, hello, doctor. Kindly please tell us the symptoms and how one can tell if a person is schizophrenic. So you've already said a shift in interest, specifically between the ages of adolescence from 15 years up.
Yes, so that is more or less when the disease would express itself. So there'll be what we call positive symptoms and negative symptoms in terms of how clinicians would group those. So it would be hallucinations, so abnormal perceptions. So people would hear mainly voices, visual hallucinations, not a core feature of schizophrenia, but rarely could occur. So when people would see things that others do not see, but mainly it's auditory hallucination in third-person commentary, running commentary. So it would be somebody commenting on what you're doing. Yes. It would be disorganized behavior. So you'd see a previously highly functioning person now being disorganized, not looking after themselves, collecting garbage. There'll be, disorganized speech and odd beliefs, so that are not in keeping with reality. So as those that would call delusions, and would have negative symptoms, as I said, affective blunting and difficulty in expressing, the commonly learned language.
Absolutely. This seems so diverse and like such a complex disease and mental health treatment. So we've got you throughout the show, and we want to continue engaging with you. We've got one more comment here from a viewer, Urai Sibe, who says, it's one of those mental illnesses or disorders characterized by a disconnection between thoughts and feelings, including actions, which I think is right on the mark.
Definitely. So I think there is no illness of mankind like schizophrenia that affects the essence of what we are as human. If you think about it, it affects, what we think, what we believe, what we remember, how we relate to other people, what we perceive of ourselves.
Absolutely.
So there is no illness of mankind, that affects the essence of who we are as we are as human.
Well,
like
doctor, you can hold it right there because we do have you until the end of the show. Thank you so much. Keep those questions coming in on our social media platforms. So stay right there because after the break, we continue this very, very incredible conversation with Dr. Lebogang. See you after the break.
Express yourself.
welcome back to Afternoon Express, where we're joined on the couch by Dr. Lebogang. We're discussing schizophrenia on our Mom Monday segment, but obviously we're extending it, and we want to find out from you online, what questions do you have for Dr. Lebogang when it comes to schizophrenia? Keep the conversation rolling, and don't forget to use the hashtag Afternoon Express in all of your comments. Dr. Lebogang, we've already discussed what causes schizophrenia and how it manifests itself and the different symptoms and traits to look out for. But now that you've been diagnosed and you know that you are a schizophrenic person, what treatments can people seek to aid? Is there such a thing as curing?
To our best of knowledge at the present moment, what we're advocating for is early intervention. So as soon as there's suspicion that there's change in the structure of the person, which could be suspicious of schizophrenia, we are advocating that patients or people must seek help immediately. Biological medication, so that would be tablets or injection, are the core main modality of treatment in schizophrenia. Obviously, some of these patients will going to refer to occupational therapists, social workers and psychologists, but at the core of this, we're advocating that many of these patients be on treatment for a reasonably long period of time. There are various different kinds of medication, but from our experience, the core feature of the illness is that many of these patients don't have awareness that they're ill, so they can't attribute the symptoms that they're experiencing to the illness schizophrenia.
Of course.
And therefore, because it's a lifelong illness, we're advocating that these patients must be on an injection, which makes it easier for them to remember to take medication and so on.
Okay, absolutely. We've got one more question here from Ubafana, who we've asked from the beginning of the show. If you've got any questions about schizophrenia, and indeed they keep coming in. Another question. One more thing, doctor, please differentiate between schizophrenia and bipolar.
So those are two completely different illnesses. Schizophrenia, as I said, it falls in a different disorder of psychotic disorders. Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder, which is in the family of disorders with depression, where these are a group of patients who would have depressive symptoms similar to people who would have what we call depression. But in addition to that, in some episodes, they would have what we call hypomania or mania, where there's increased energy, excessive abnormal happiness, engagement in goal-directed activities that lead them to big type or problems. So those are, it's a different kind of disorder. The treatment is different, but some of the symptoms could be similar, especially in the severe form of bipolar disorder.
Oh, thank you so much, doctor. I've learned so much from you. I know we want to keep the conversation going. Head over to our Afternoon Express website if you do want more information on schizophrenia. We still want to tackle substance abuse, how the family can get involved. So let's continue the conversation online as well. Use our @Afternoon Chat on Twitter. Head over to our Facebook page or Instagram using the hashtag Afternoon Express, and hopefully Dr. Lebogang can be heading over there to answer all of your questions. Thank you again. I've learned so much, and it's broadened my horizon, especially on schizophrenia and raising a schizophrenic child. Thank you so much.
Only a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you. So tomorrow we meet singer and songwriter Kamakwini. Yo, I'm looking forward to it. We've got music, we've got everything cultural on the show. But thank you so much for tuning in, making our day every day on Afternoon Express. Good night and God bless.
Afternoon Express, made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.